Where banks are silent, we speak. A podcast by UMushroom.
Welcome everyone to the UK Students Investment Challenge 2025. My name is Luba and I'm co-founder of the financial platform UMushroom, and I'm very happy to announce that we are continuing our tradition with investment challenges in the UK. This time we are launching it for second time in a row, and we are widening up also our scope, including more and more universities. We're having this time 15 UK universities, and this year we are also doing it in partnership with MCD Capital. Giorgio, would you like to say some words? Please.
Yes. Well, hello, Luba. Thank you very much for hosting me and for having me on the podcast. As you said, we're running it together this year, so we're hosting the competition together. It's a fantastic opportunity for us with MCD Capital and our educational arm, MCD Education, to start moving a bit deeper into the industry and really start pushing this mission of giving opportunity to students who are maybe on usually a bit less visible to the industry, and who are going through these automated processes of applications and interviews, which really take the face out of the applicant and sort of we're trying to level the playing field by giving them a real opportunity to showcase their skills, talents, and personality as well, which at the end of the day is what the hire comes down to, right? You need to enjoy the person you're working with. And so this is what we're doing this year. The 2025 UK Investment Competition, we're launching it on the 10th of October. And we'll have the final happening on the 5th. But let's maybe talk a bit about how it's going to happen. Luba, if you want to take over on that.
Very happy to. And the reason is, as we've been mentioning, when I was applying for an internship back then, when I finished universities, I was talking to real people. And these days, when you apply, you actually go through a very automated process. Our ambition is to really give a face to the company and to the people behind the applications, and to make really these talents visible. On the other side, for our partners who are providing the internships, and we are going to come back to that in a minute, this is a very huge efficiency gain, because you actually have already kind of a pre-selection process, which is both very qualified and also very pleasant to go through. So, what is it about? Let me break down for you the challenge. Over the next 8 weeks, and we start on the 10th of October, as Giorgio, you just mentioned. Here a small remark, you can already sign in starting from the 22nd of September. The pre-sign up is opened. So for 8 weeks, students will be asked to build and track portfolios across equity, cryptocurrency, ETFs and funds. Next to collecting performance points, which are outright performance of their portfolios and strategies, we're going to look at how well strategies are documented, and also whether students absorb regularly the educational nuggets which we have carefully prepared for them. Reason being, we want to guide them through also educationally through the process of constructing a portfolio. And on top of that, we have some bonus. This is tailored webinars with top experts from the industry. And that already gives like a feeling, what does it look like when you start working in the financial industry? All for students, so that they really get the maximum from the challenge and also as a preparation.
Yeah, 100%. And maybe to build on this, the way it's going to be structured throughout the time is that the first 6 weeks are going to be the tracking. So the performance tracking, the video tracking, as Luba just mentioned. And then every partner university, we have 15 this year, I believe, with societies and some business schools participating. There will be a local final or an elimination round hosted on campus for students the top 10 teams of every uni to present their portfolios for the first time. From that competition and from that elimination round, we take the best team from every uni to represent them in the grand finale, which we'll host on the 5th of December, as I just mentioned, in the City of London. And that's really where the final will happen. It's going to be an event with speakers, just students that obviously participate in the final, the students that are presenting, but also a bit of our professional network. I think that's also an important point to mention. We're going to be bringing around some people in the industry, just to make sure that the conversations happening at the event are going to be of interest and that everybody can gain a bit from it, whether it's winning the competition or just having a conversation with the person seated next to you in the conference room.
Fantastic, absolutely. And before we move more into details, when, what, and how, we're going to say that once again at the end of our podcast, let us introduce our guests today. And these are Alan Bird and Leo L. Asmar. Welcome.
Thank you. So I'll give a quick introduction. My name is Aaron Bird. I go to the University of Warwick and I study politics, philosophy and economics. I'm originally from Yorkshire, however I moved around Europe. And last year, me and Leo competed together in the investment challenge and we were lucky enough to be the winners. And now for Leo.
So my name is Leo Asmar, and I'm heading into my third year now at Warwick University, studying liberal arts with economics. I'm originally French and Lebanese, but I've been living in the UK for the past 18 years. And last year I had the pleasure of doing the challenge with Aaron.
Perfect. Well, guys, now that you mentioned that you guys won, something we actually talked about briefly is the internships that come at the end of the challenge. So last year we had our partner Volcafe, or Luba's partner with UMushroom, Volcafe, giving you guys both an internship. This year we're taking it to another level, and we have currently 5 internship spots that are secured for student exclusive to the challenge, and we're always looking to bring in more. So give us a bit of a run through of how winning was and what happened, what you got, and then we'll just delve into it deeper later on.
Well, I think I'll start off with this, but so after we had won, obviously we spoke to loads of people at the event. We spoke to Luba, we got interviewed by her, but the next steps were, it was a bit of a concern because we weren't sure if we were both going to get the internship, because originally it was just one person getting the internship at Volcafe, and that was pretty much it. So Aaron and I, a week later, were invited down to the Volcafe offices in London, near Waterloo, and we both presented ourselves there. We presented our portfolio, the whole presentation, and we got asked several questions by Chris, Hannah, and David, who were on the prop trading team. And fortunately enough, we both got offered the internship, which was amazing. I started off my internship first 6 weeks, and then Aaron followed off the next 6 weeks, complementing each other's work.
Aaron, we have a question to both you and Leo. We jumped into the internship and we're happy that you're enjoying, and you must have done an amazing work because we have Volcafe again as a partner. We have a question to you. What actually motivated you to jump on this endeavor and go through the challenge last year?
So me and Leo I only really found out about the challenge a couple hours before the presentation at Warwick. So I was sat with Leo in a lecture and he said, "Oh, we should go to this WBSS presentation. I think it's something you really enjoy. I think it's something you enjoy, something you'd like." So I was like, "Okay, we'll go." We went there, and originally I wasn't exactly sure what it was. But over the hour, they kind of went through what the competition was going to look like, the structure, what we had to do. So build a portfolio, compete against a range of different universities, people from all around the UK, and the prizes that were involved. So at the time, there was a prize of £1,000 for the winner, £2,000 overall for the competition, and then, of course, the internship at Volcafe. So what really motivated me was, firstly, the opportunity to compete against people nationally, people from UCL, KCL, Cambridge, Oxford, the best universities across the UK, but then also the prize pool and then the internship opportunity. At the time, I wasn't sure if I'd be able to do it, so me and Leo had an agreement that I would take the prize money and he'd take the internship. However, it was great enough that we could do both. So my main motivations were that, being able to compete against the best of the best around the UK, and then of course the incredible prize pool, and then the opportunity to get real experience in a trading firm like Volcafe.
Amazing. And how about you, Leo?
So essentially the reason Aaron and I, we had different motivations because Aaron, all props to him, already had secured an internship at Dare before the investment challenge started. So for me, my motivation was to get that internship, but also to compete. I would like to say that both Aaron and I are very competitive people. We're competitive between us. We're competitive with anyone who's around us. And so I think that idea lingered in our mind is like, what we have an opportunity to beat people here at LSE, UCL, all those top universities. Let's prove that, Warwick students are not lesser than or more than. It's just we're all on an equal playing field. Let's see in a competition who's going to come out on top. So I think we have similar motivations in that sense, but it was definitely the internship opportunity at the end and the ability to compete with those who not only are in the most recognized universities in the world, but also do degrees that are a lot more targeted to an investment challenge. So that was definitely the motivation for myself.
I think you touched on a very, very relevant point here, right? That you got that exposure and that chance to compete against everyone in the UK. We don't have many chances, myself having gone to university in the UK, we don't have many chances to compare ourselves to others. And I think that's probably one of the key points that we're trying to promote here, right? That it's quite interesting to see how then the inter-university competition also sort of sparks the motivation and all of the will to participate and to push yourselves throughout the competition. But moving on, maybe to something a bit more specific, I wanted to know, guys, if you had a moment throughout the competition where you realized, okay, hold on, we might actually win this. Let's go full on, or whether it was actually since the beginning that you were like, yes, we're definitely going to win it.
For me, the final round was in the Shard. So there was 5 final teams out of 80 plus that competed. We all went, we did a presentation in front of a range of judges, and it was a tough competition. So the kind of quality of the pitches was much higher than me and Leo expected. And I think we were third to present. So we saw the first 2 and were like, wow, these are really good. We did our presentation, it went well. And then I still wasn't sure if we'd won. I mean, so the way in which it was announced at the end was the final 3 teams were announced as winners, started off with a third, second, and then moved to the first. So we heard who third place was and second place. And then I remember sat next to Leo and I went, we either won it or we're dead last. Yeah, and I was like, I think we might have won it. And he goes, Aaron, shut up. And we heard the name of our team, Nicole Fairman, and we stood up. So I really had no clue if we'd won it until I heard the team name announced. That was really at the final moment, yeah.
I remember that because we were sitting in the jury and it was amazing. Leo, sorry, go ahead.
My bad. No, but definitely answering your question, Giorgio, about when I thought that we could potentially win it was... So before the final, there was an online assessment with the judges from WBSS, and so we got told our presentation was very good. The fundamental analysis was amazing, but all the others in the competition did a lot more quant focus than we did. So Monte Carlo simulations, covariance matrix. They were looking at Sharpe ratios to optimize their portfolio allocations. And so I remember distinctly, and we were speaking about this, Aaron and I, earlier, that weekend. So we had that assessment on Friday, and then I think the challenge was on Monday or was on Tuesday. And so on that weekend, the Saturday and Sunday, we spent maybe 12 hours Saturday and 12 hours on Sunday, just doing everything we could to add everything quant-wise. We were doing DCFs. Aaron did an amazing Monte Carlo simulation, the covariance matrix. We had everything in there. And I think Monday night before the event, I was like, look, if someone beats us, that means they've put an insane amount of work. I think Aaron and I, we might have put something like 45 to 50 hours individually. And so I think at that moment, I'm not saying that we were confident that we were going to win. That's not at all what we were feeling, but it was, if someone's beat us, that means they've put an insane amount of work, and props to them. We wouldn't feel bad or whatsoever. But definitely, as Aaron was saying, when that build-up was third, second, and then first, it was definitely in the sense like he just kept on speaking. He wouldn't shut up the whole time, I remember. And he was just in my ear, and I was like, just please, please, please. Like, it was very stressful because for me, it was like an internship I'm writing on. So that was essentially up to that moment, the build-up. It was a very nice feeling.
Was amazing, and I remember when we were. It was a very tight selection because the pitches were absolutely high quality, very well researched, very well represented. To our listeners, the finals, and they're going to be similar this year as well. The top finalists. We had back then the top 5 finalists had to present effectively their strategies on stage in front of a jury, and it was a very big event, really like grand finale. And this year is going to be exactly also a grand finale with the wish to really provide maximum visibility to our participants towards the industry. What was very impressive when we were listening to your pitch, I remember, and all three juries were independent of each other, was not only that it's very well researched, but it was also incredibly well documented, very well presented, and the fundamentals, the macro parameters, why you're doing what you're doing, was very impressive, and you had a very contrarian view towards compared to the rest of the industry, which was also very interesting to listen to, and you turned out to be right. So yeah, an amazing job, and congratulations once again. It was a huge win for everyone, both for our industrial partner and also hopefully for you. I have another question for you, and that would be, what do you think is this challenge did as an impact for your future career, or is having as an impact?
So definitely for myself, taking first an educational standpoint, academic, it was, I don't think Aaron and I would have ever pushed ourselves to learn everything we did, especially on the quant side, if we didn't have the challenge. So that's the first thing, learning skills about all that analysis, that different type of analysis that we were not used to because we're not necessarily exposed to that in our degrees. So definitely pushing ourselves out of the comfort zone to the extreme. That's the first thing. And then for careers wise, obviously the internship at Volcafe opening many doors. Internships are always useful, learning more about different industries, especially for commodities, which I found that actually speaking to those at EDF Man Commodities and at Volcafe is an industry that I would like to go in. So essentially what this internship provided for me is not only some more experience, but also the fact that it exposed me to a new industry that I was not familiar with, and it's actually something I'm really considering going into. So definitely that, putting my more on a clear path on where I need to go to in the future.
And for me, I definitely echo Leo's first point. So in order to construct the portfolio, we had to do financial valuations of every company we looked at. So when you talk about understanding what a DCF is, which is like a really important interview topic, but also great to know when you're applying for jobs across a range of different finance-related roles, we had to do a DCF for every single company we looked at. So we did it again and again and again. And then because we were building a portfolio, we had to look at different ways, systematic and discretionary approaches of allocation. So it really pushed our kind of coding abilities, but also our fundamental and like understanding of how you build a portfolio and how you actually allocate the percentages for each individual position. And then further to that, building a Monte Carlo simulation and the covariance matrix, again, just kind of pushed that understanding. So I really developed a lot of skills and knowledge that I didn't have prior to this competition. And then, of course, for me, I already knew that I wanted to be a trader. I wanted to go into trading, and I was pretty sure I wanted to go into commodity trading. So with prior experience in OTC swaps trading, which is more kind of like flow trading rather than what Volcafe does, through getting this internship, I was able to see the complete other side. So really gain exposure to fundamental trading and what it's like to work at a physical supply chain management company, which leverages the proprietary information to make the directional decision-based trades. So for me, it really opened my perspective to portfolio management and how to construct a portfolio. But then also it developed my understanding of the market and the role that I want to go into. So it's really benefited my career.
And well, okay, Luba, I think you'll agree with me, but it's always a pleasure to hear it directly from them, right? Like to hear how impactful it was and that it was an actual, I mean, we can almost call it career-changing pathway, at least for Leo and for you, Aaron, something that definitely solidified your knowledge and probably also understanding of what you want to do later on. But I'd like to take you guys back on your first point. I was going to ask you, and I think you sort of answered it, but if we can go a bit deeper into it. If you had different expectations to what the competition actually turned out to be, or if you learned something unexpected, or if you went deep into something that you never thought you would, or like almost thinking of it in a way as if it opened perspectives for you guys. So I don't know who wants to take it, but
it's actually a good question. I hadn't really thought about that before, but what was a little bit unexpected, I would definitely say the learning curve. I would say that it was a lot of pressure in one go, because from the moment you submitted your portfolio to when you had to then present it next and then next again was a very quick timeline, and we didn't really expect that. And it was trying to learn a lot of different things as quickly as possible and being over flooded with information. I think that was, to answer your question about anything unexpected or we didn't think about, I think definitely on my end, because we also were doing another stock pitch at the same time of doing it. And I remember at one period that it was very work intensive, and we didn't think it was going to be to that level whatsoever, especially because we like to do things 100%. Either you do it correctly or you don't do it at all. So for us, it was every time we looked at a certain company, research to the maximum, looking at everything, the fundamentals, the macro, especially with Trump in his inauguration and becoming president once again of the United States, that played a very big effect into our whole fundamental analysis. So definitely into what was unexpected for us was the workload and having to absorb as much information as possible in a very short amount of time.
Impressive. And it's really very interesting to see that out of something which looks like simple as a competition, you can really gain so much insight. So if I can sum up, it's knowledge, it's experience to the industry, it's getting your first steps into the industry, so with one foot literally in the professional world, and also in shaping the path of where you want to go, either firming it or really rethinking it. In your word case, it's very happy to hear that it's in direction firming towards your future paths. I have a question also with respect to what with a potential advice to those who are participating this year. What would you give them as advice?
Yeah. So I'll go first here, and we won't give all our advice because we plan on competing against this year. But I think it's quite a hard competition, and I think the main issue that most groups would have had is they would have dived directly into the kind of asset allocation in terms of picking equities. So what most people tend to do is they take a kind of bottom-up approach. So they find individual equities and then kind of base their overall macro image off those equities. So picking companies which they think are undervalued or have high growth potential, and then making the pitch that the industry is going to do well and that certain region is going to do well, and that's why they've picked it, or directly comparing to competitors. What me and Leo did is we took a long amount of time, a large chunk of time really, developing a macroeconomic perspective on what regions we thought were going to do well and what industries we thought were going to do well. And then based on that kind of high level approach, we then looked each individual equity within those industries and regions and then picked the best equity. So that's the one piece of advice that I would have, is really look at the macroeconomic, what your macroeconomic thoughts are and kind of expectations. So if you're picking the US, look at the impact of Donald Trump's tariffs and all the kind of political issues that are going on in the US. Or for Europe, for example, we focused on the green energy transition. So make those macroeconomic perspectives and expectations and then base your equity allocations off of that.
Before moving to Julio, I'm actually very happy, Aaron, you touched on this, because we focused a lot this year on kind of channeling students into this direction, right? So as Luba was mentioning before, we're going to have educational nuggets that are going to appear throughout the competition in the platform, and you're going to get to sort of deepen your understanding in what does macro view means, how do you actually set your thesis. And I think you touched a very important point here, which is often and so often overlooked. It's that you need to think when you're investing, right? Like you need to literally use your brain and see what you think is going to happen. Look at the world around you. Like, I mean, I don't think I could have said it better than you, but this is literally one of the main fundamental understandings that I think students lack, especially when they move from the world of applying and, you know, needing to get a job and like preparing for interviews and just like study, like get in, like do one DCF and kind of deep dive into something without really thinking about it. You have to take a step back and actually think of the world around you. Like, I think this is really something that's overlooked. But sorry for interrupting, Leo. I don't know if you wanna continue with your view.
Well said, Aaron. I think my advice can be less technical and more just on the daunting aspect of the challenge. I would definitely say because there's going to be first years that are going to be joining as well. And I remember myself in first year and how many different things that were happening, you know, applying to spring weeks, getting into a whole new world. You know, it's the first time you're going to be living by yourself for most people, having to cook for yourself, have to make sure that you're on time for everything, that you're disciplined, that no one is telling you what to do anymore. You're completely free spirit. And I would definitely say that my advice to anyone wanting to join the challenge is that it's a lot more daunting than it seems. You know, you hear the classic classic phrase, take one step at a time. And I don't think it could be even more true for this challenge. It's say, as Aaron was saying, don't look at the very end goal. Don't try and find those equities straight away, and don't try and come to a conclusion at the moment you start working on it. That's not the objective. The objective, as you were saying, Giorgio, take a step back, take time. There's no rush. If you just dedicate enough time and you really work on the fine details, and you really go from a bigger picture to narrowing it down onto certain options of ETFs or bonds or equities that you're going to choose, it makes it seem a lot less daunting than it is, because it is a big commitment. For many people, they would have never heard about valuation or investing or portfolio management, and so this is an opportunity to learn about that. But they shouldn't be discouraged by the fact that it seems like such a daunting opportunity, because honestly, when you get into it, it really isn't that bad.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, the starting point can really be something super simple, right? Like when I say thesis, maybe it sounds, again, a bit daunting, but the reality is you look around you look at social media, what's happening, the news, etc. The AI boom is right now something that's huge, right? So I don't know, just a very basic idea, but you can just go and look at what are the materials that are going to work very well, or what is needed for the AI boom to continue. Like, it can be as simple as an idea or as this to get you started. And then, as Leo said very well, you then need to make sure that you go into the details and actually go and pick your industries, your sectors, then your individual stocks, compare companies, then potentially go and look at the other side as well, and fixed income, and even cryptos. This year we have on the platform. So it's really a case of starting from the simplest understanding you have of finance and of the markets, and then diving deep and making sure that your selection is really rock solid and systematic as well. I think that's another point that's important.
And
maybe if you want to add something on this.
That is how you're going to work in professional life. I wanted to say that you've picked up very right approach, because literally, if you one day work as an asset manager, this is exactly what's going to be, particularly if you're macro driven. But anyone in one way or the other is macro driven. You need to start with what kind of a view do you have for the world, as the three of you already beautifully mentioned. Then you need to break this view down into, and be brave. If you have a different view of the mainstream, even better, because that's how you really make money. Following a trend can provide returns, but being against the main trend and really being proved to be right. And I've lived through the 2008 crisis, and as you know, at the beginning of my career, I started working with Lehman Brothers, but left it before bankruptcy. I remember back then Mike Burry and a lot of other hedge fund managers who were laughing at this view, and just be brave. And a very good way, this is why we, among others, we mentioned we've started a challenge last year in our first edition to provide visibility to the students, to the industry. But what is also more important, and now we're growing it more and more, is to give you a platform where you can train your instincts. Because the best way to become a successful professional in the financial industry is not only to know the ABC of finance, to know the facts and figures, but to develop a gut feeling. The best traders are those who trade with their instincts. Of course, you have your marketing your technical parameters, but you always have like this additional degree of intuition, which is, I think, priceless. And this is what we are doing also here, among other things. But it's absolutely amazing. And I see the time is progressing, and and I'm sure you would be happy to go back to work, all of us. To wrap it up, I would love to say a very, very big thank you to our sponsors this year. As mentioned, we have a sponsored internship from Volcafe, also from LGT Wealth Management, and from Goldborn Capital. So you have really plenty of opportunities, starting from trading companies to wealth management, and also working from private debt firm company, to see the plethora of what the industry can offer. And as we go, we're going to increase also the opportunities for internship, because, as mentioned, we want to go big and really be the nationwide place for investment challenges and for where industry meets the students. a very, very big thank you and a huge shout out to our partners, the students' societies, and particularly to Warwick Business Student Society, who's been with us from day one on this journey. And now we're very happy that we are having more and more joiners on the society side. So it's literally going to be carried out from different universities, from different societies, with the idea to change the way industry is seeing students and give those students a face. One last final sentence from Aaron and Leo before Giorgio and I wrap up.
Thank you very much, Giorgio, and thank you very much, Luba, for inviting us onto the podcast today. It's been a great discussion. Final remarks, I would say to anyone wanting to do the challenge, just go for it. You've got nothing to lose. There's only an upside to it. Even if you don't make it to the final, if you don't progress as far as you thought you would have wanted, it doesn't matter. You're going to come out of it a much more educated person about everything to do with valuation and investing, and it's a great opportunity. And that's why Aaron and I will be doing it again. Not to say because we want to win it again, but just because we want to see how much more we can learn about it. Aaron's going to have a different point of view, but yeah.
Thank you both again for inviting us to the podcast and for helping us with the challenge last year. It was a great experience. My final remark would just, again, echo Leo. For all the first years, you're going to be applying for Spring Weeks. You're going to be doing a lot over the next few weeks. But the investment challenge is your opportunity to gain real experience and actually get an internship in your first year, which will provide you with invaluable experience. So this really, for me, would be a top priority. Of course, me and Leo will be doing it again. And for me, my motivation is slightly different. I'll be here to win it. But I would definitely recommend applying, and then best of luck.
Well, guys, I think everybody has to look out for you, and probably everybody's going to come for your head this year. So you guys have to up your game even more. But no, it's I'm very happy to hear that you guys will be partaking again. We'll see if you make it to the final again. But yeah, it's a very exciting project. And I'm gonna wrap up on my side, Luba, and then let you finish off. But it's a very exciting project for us at MCD to be bringing this forward and sort of scaling it across the UK and really trying to have the massive and biggest impact we can have through the channels that we've been building. So you've probably seen us present on social media for different channels. But the goal here is really giving tangible opportunities, right? So we offer a lot of resources as well and a lot of self-study material, but this is really the method that we allow students to get into a career and then just progress with their lives. And I was speaking just yesterday to a dear friend of MCD who was telling me I actually participated in something very similar when I was young, and I remember it to this day as being a career-changing experience for me. And he's not even in finance, not in the industry, but it just goes to show and just goes to tell you that a small decision, just like deciding to participate in a challenge, can really change the course of your life and put you in places where you might have not had access to otherwise. So yeah, just echoing everybody's points, take the chance if you're a first year student. If you're a second or third year student, do it. There's no reason for you not to do it. But yeah, I think the thing that I go forward in life with is what's the worst that can happen, and really here the worst that can happen is not so bad. So yeah, thank you very much, Luba, for hosting us on your podcast. Thank you guys for giving your opinions. I think it's amazing to get the take of someone who actually participated in the challenge. So we're very happy. And we hope to see everybody soon in the competition and hopefully also at the final on the 5th of December. Yeah, thank you.
Regarding our participants last year, very happy to give you some facts and figures. So we had 10 universities across the UK. We had Warwick, LSE, UCL. I think we also had Cambridge. We had Nottingham, really, really top names, and some few others. And we had roughly 100 teams, slightly more than 100 teams, with 500 students participating. Plus minus. And how about this year, Giorgio? What do you think are we going to get?
Yeah. I think what's exciting is this year. So we were sort of running the numbers with different societies and different partners, and we're looking now at 15 societies. So we're extending the university pool. I won't list you the names, but basically if you search online top 15 UK unis, that's what you'll find. And in terms of participants, we're expecting about 1,500 people. So it should be a pretty global competition, a pretty national stage for you guys to go head to head and hopefully take the challenge home. So yeah.
So that's what we're calling it. It's the Nationwide UK Students Investment Challenge.
Yes, and I think that's also super important. Just in the title, it's important. It gives that perspective that you get to compete with everyone in the nation, which is always a great luck. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Aaron. Thank you very much, Leo, Giorgio. Pleasure. We are on this together, and we're very happy to welcome as many students as we would be able to reach out to. The sign-up starts already, the pre-sign-up starts already on the 22nd of September, as mentioned. The big launch is on the 10th of October. And Giorgio, as you just mentioned, we are going to have the grand finale, the big closing event at the 5th of December in London. Very much looking forward to that. I remember last year was amazing. I'm pretty sure this year is going to be amazing again. And we hope to be able to welcome much more participants. With that, I would like to wish you a wonderful time. Best of luck, and very much looking forward to welcoming all of you at our challenge.
Where banks are silent, we speak. A podcast by UMushroom.